Hello, my name is Leroy Blevins. Welcome to Mysteries and Histories. In this episode here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about shot number 2 in the JFK assassination. Now, as we were told, and as I pointed out in my last video, they only talk about the 3 shots. You got the fatal headshot, the magic bullet shot, and the curb shot. But as I point out in my research, there was 13 shots fired. Now, in this evidence here that you're about to see, is not only are you going to see the time when JFK was shot, but you're also going to see that shot being fired and taken from other films and images that I gathered together and the location where that shot came from. So what we're going to do about shot number 2 is right here. I'm going to pull up this frame here. This is frame 229 of the Zapruder film. Now in the Zapruder film, we can actually see an impact of a bullet striking the back of JFK's head, as you see here. Now what I did was, after I seen this, and what we have to look at as well, when we view films or we view images, okay, which I'm going to zoom in, okay, a little bit right here. Okay, we're going to go to this frame here first. This is frame 228. Okay, we see JFK's hands. We got one hand like this, another one underneath like this, with his arms more downward and his shoulders not, his shoulders was even down a little bit. Okay, then we go to the next frame, which is frame 229. We can see an impact of a bullet in the back of JFK's head and blood spatter coming out. And we notice that JFK's hands went up more, his face is coming down more, and his shoulders going up, and his arms comes up, as you see here. Now we see him crunched all together, just like this, in this Zapruder film in frame 330. Okay, so when I did research on this, and as I was analyzing the film, we can see another reaction from JFK when we watch this. Okay, he's normal here, which he's basically got one hand here, one hand here. And that's in frame 228. Then when he gets in frame 229 of Zapruder film, he goes down more. His shoulders come up, his arms come up. And as you see here, now he's crunched up more, as you see here. So here we see how his shoulders are down, his arms are even angled down. And then the next frame, we see the impact of the bullet striking the back of JFK's head. And then we see his arms are coming up and his shoulders and more crunched up right here in frame 330 of the Zapruder film. Now, I'm going to point out with this right here. As you see, okay, here's frame 328, and this is frame 329, which, like I said, I'm writing this location over here, so I know it's going to be hard to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so we can pull this up a little bit. Let me zoom back out a little bit so you can see. This is frame 229 and this is frame 228. As you see right here, everything looks normal. The back of JFK's head. Then we see that bullet impact right here and blood spatter. And then we're going to look at JFK's arms now, which now I can zoom back out. So you can see how one arm, how you see the line here, how this is coming downward. Now you see this one is actually coming up more, and this one's straightened up more and stuff because of the impact of the bullet. And then as I point out, when you point out throughout frame 230, we can actually see his hands more up to in his face and his shoulders completely up and his arms completely up as well. Okay, what people don't know is this is the time when JFK was first shot in the back of the head, which I'm going to point out here. This is the autopsy image of JFK's head. And you can see where they cut it open more and open it up. As you see here, there are 2 bullet holes we can see on the inside of JFK's scalp. Okay, but this is the one we're looking at right now. That's this one here that struck right here in the back of JFK's head. When we look at it, when they just took the image of the back of JFK's head, this is the first shot to the back of JFK's head. This is the second one, but well, that'll be in another video. But this shot here is the first one to the back of JFK's head. Now I want to show you this before we continue and go on. Let me pull this one up. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and pull this one up. All right. Now we're going to do a side by side. Okay, so I can show you pull this one up too. As you see here, the location right here where the bullet hole is, as you watch my cursor, and we see the impact of the bullet entering JFK, back of JFK's head. They're actually in the same location, in the same spot, which I'll zoom in right here. Now point it right here. Let's just zoom back a little bit because that makes it a little bit too blurry, but we see the impact right here. This is the back of JFK's head here. See the impact of the bullet right here. This is that location right here. Right in this location here is where the first bullet struck JFK in the back of the head, in that impact location. So we know by lining this up that this is showing the same thing as we see in the Zapruder film of the location where the bullet made contact with back of JFK's head. Now, the location and where this shot came from. This is a frame from the Bell film, okay, which shows the motorcade coming down Houston Street. And as we zoom in, and the more we zoom in, we can actually see there is a gunman right in this location here, and he's holding a rifle in his hand as he's leaning out, seeing the motorcade coming down the road, so he knows when to start getting set up and prepared to take aim to JFK. And this close-up I'll show you right here. As you see, we can see the gunman hanging out right here, and he's holding a rifle. Now, when I point out about this might be a man that was dressed up in a policeman's uniform, because we can see patches right here on his shoulders, on his arms right here, and right here up on his chest, another patch. So he might have been dressed up as a police officer, which but the picture's too blurry to be telling that if it was a man in a police uniform, but by the design of it, and like I said right here, a patch on the arm where they usually keep their patches at, okay. But we know definitely we can see a rifle in his hand, because you see his hand crouched right here on the rifle itself, and we see the barrel of the rifle sticking down right here. Okay, now when I seen this and I found this gunman here, okay, and I start lining up images and everything else, I found when I came across the Much More film, which also shows the gunman looking out of the window right here on the second floor of the county records building. But then I sit there and I seen, when I went over to Hughes film, okay, this is a shot right here being fired from the window. Now when you're watching it in motion, you can see that flash coming out of that window, and then the flash is gone. Okay, this is a shot being fired from the second floor of the county records building. Now we have the Bell film, shows a gunman with a rifle in his hand hanging out the window. Then he comes back in, as we watch in the films, he'll come back in, and then in a Hughes film, we see a shot being fired from the second floor window. Now to find out what shot this was, I started lining up the films and images. And as you see here, we watch this car right here, third car back from JFK. We see it right here is getting ready to turn down on Elm Street, which is still on Houston Street right now, but it's getting ready to turn down on Elm Street. And then all-gen image number 6, we know JFK was already shot in the back and bullet exited his throat, and Governor Connally was already shot by lining us up with when it was taken and everything else by frame 257 of the Zapruder film, okay? But this is where JFK was already shot in the neck and everything else. But we see him start making that turn here, which comes down around here. So when this shot was fired, we're going to move JFK's limo back a little bit, okay? So this would be actually the shot that we see here will be the shot that struck JFK in the back of the head. Now, I want to point this up right here. Okay, the Bell film and the Much More film shows a gunman in the window of the second floor of the county records building. The Bell film, we can see him holding a rifle in his hand. The Hughes film, we can see a shot being fired from that window. Now here, as you see I marked, we got the starting point, which is frame 133 of the Zapruder film, as I pointed out in my last video. And then we have this point here is where this shot took place, as we see in a Zapruder film. Okay? Now it's frame 229 from the film, of the Zapruder film. This is the location where the bullet actually impacted the back of JFK's head. Like I said, when we watch the Darnell film, I mean, when we look at Alt Jen's image, number 6, JFK's limo is right around in this location right here. Okay, it's right around in this location right here. So we have that time for him to take that shot. We have that time. So the time frame that he has, soon as we go from this point here to this point here, time frame that we have is actually 7.58 seconds. So he took his shot right after Oswald took his shot from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository. Now, if we watch the angles of this, okay, we're going to watch the angles of this, okay. The distance that this gunman had was 294.18 feet, or 98.6 yards. That's the distance from this window to when this shot made contact with the back of JFK's head. Now, when we look at this shot, okay, now there was a researcher called Donahue. He actually said, well, it was one of the Secret Service agents in the follow-up car took the shot, because by the angle of it, because the shot actually came in from the right, came in from the left, going out to the right, okay, which is, you notice, and as you see here, even in the doctor's reports, which I will talk about in a minute, this shot is coming in from the left, going out to the right, same as Donahue figured out, you know. So this is kind of like close to what he had figured out, except for he said it was a gunman that took that shot was actually one of the Secret Service agents that was in a follow-up car. Okay, but he also put this as the fatal headshot, but the fatal headshot didn't happen at this point. Okay, but with the shot being fired from that close, not only would it took off, came through JFK's head, okay, but it would have struck Governor Connally as well. With a shot being that close, as you see here, we have 294 feet compared to maybe 14 to 15 feet away from each other. So that would, if a shot came from a Secret Service agent that was in a follow-up car, not only JFK's head would have been shot in the back, but a lot of his front of his face would have been completely gone. Okay, it would have been completely gone, like JFK's eyes and stuff. But with a shot being taken from this distance to this point here, and as we watch, and if we go over the doctor's reports, they said the bullet struck JFK in the back, coming in from the right, going out to the left, but the bullet entered JFK's head and went in about 15 centimeters, and that's where supposedly JFK's head opened, as they point out. But the bullet actually did not exit at JFK's head, as we see here. The bullet did impact the back of JFK's head, but the bullet went in 15 centimeters. And that's where the bullet stopped, because we can see here, this is frame 229, when the impact of the bullet struck JFK in the back of the head, and he starts getting more reaction and stuff from him. But we see that bullet does not exit anywhere. It's not exiting out to the side. It's not exiting anywhere in front of JFK's face or anything like that. Like I said, it's a Secret Service agent from behind would have took the shot. It would have struck JFK in the back of the head, but the front of his face would have been blown out with him being that close. Okay, and then that bullet would have continued on and clipped Governor Connally right in the back of the head. Okay, which we know that did not happen. But when the bullet did impact the back of JFK's head, it actually went in 15 centimeters and stopped. Which I'll go into more on this when I talk about shot number 4, because that's when I'll show you more of when that other bullet made contact with that bullet inside JFK's head, that's why it opened up. But anyway, I wanted to point this out on shot number 2, that the shot number 2 actually took place in frame 229 of the Zapruder film, because we can actually see the bullet impact right here in the back of JFK's head, and we see blood spatter. And as you watch here, see it's a different color here, but then we see redness right in this location. Then after is back to normal again, as we see in the rest of the film. But there's only one frame that shows blood spatter coming out of the back of JFK's head, and that is right here. Okay, and that's where we can see the impact of the bullet. And as I point out, this bullet hole that we see, the impact of that bullet hole, is this one right here, in this location here, as we see in a Zapruder film. And this is that bullet hole. Then when I point out, look at the inside the scalp. Okay, this was a shot number 5 right here, but we'll go to talk about that when I talk about shot number 5. But we see this one right here as you watch my cursor. I'll zoom in. This is the inside of JFK's skull because we got a skull right here. Okay, here it is. This is on the inside of JFK's scalp. Okay, we see a bullet hole here, and we see a bullet hole here, but we're going to talk about that. That's shot number 5. We'll talk about that later. But this right here is that other bullet hole that we see in the back of JFK's head, and this is the skull part of where that bullet entered at. Okay, like I said, we can see, by the films, by the images, we line it up, where this shot came from, because now we know that the back shot to JFK's first shot to the back of JFK's head came from the second floor of the county records building, because we can actually see this in Hughes' film when he was taking that shot. As I'll point out here. Here we have the second floor of the county records building. We have the Deltex building right here. Okay, and we see that shot being fired out of the window right here on the second floor. And as I point out here, at this point when image number 6 was taken, JFK was already shot 2 times and Governor Connally was already shot once. Okay, when we line this up with other films and images and pinpoint and make time frames on these. Okay, now at this point here, now a lot of people think that, the fatal headshot was a kill shot. But at this point here, I would say, in my opinion, that this first shot to the back of JFK's head was the kill shot. And it was the kill shot actually came from this gunman right here that fired from the second floor of the county records building. Here's the reason why. When Oswald took his shot, and shot number 1, if you watch that video, okay, which was posted yesterday, if you watch that video, shot number 1, I talked about where the first shot came from, which was the 6th floor of Texas School Book Depository. That shot entered JFK's back, exited his throat, and struck the chrome in between the sun visors of the windshield. Okay, at that point, JFK had a hard time breathing. Okay, because the bullet, messed up right in this location here where he can breathe back properly. Okay, then when he got first shot in the back of the head, not only JFK's muscles locked up, but as we watch the rest of the film, he starts drooping. And basically why he's still sitting in his seat is because he has a back brace on. And Mrs. Kennedy had, started holding him in location in a certain spot. Okay, this is why he didn't fall over or droop down or anything else. Because at this point, this is what I call, to me, in my research, this will be the kill shot. Shot number 2 was actually the kill shot because, like I said, and I'm pointing out, at this point, JFK is having a hard time breathing. And then now he just got shot in the back of the head. The bullet entered 15 centimeters. Okay. At this point here, and then he starts drooping over because he's already got loss of blood from the bullet wounding back and the exiting. And he also had a shot in the back of the head, which is also have blood coming out. And the bullet striking JFK's brain at the time, which cracks the skull at the same time as well. Okay, so to me, this will be the kill shot. This is actually the shot that actually killed JFK right here. And it was actually taken from this gunman right here. That's on the second floor of the county records building. That'd be this gunman right here. Now, at this point, we know JFK at this point was shot 2 times. Once in the back, bullet exited his throat, struck the chrome of the windshield. And this was in frame 224. So in frame 224 of the Zapruder film to frame 229 of the Zapruder film, JFK was already shot within that time frame. Then when we look at this, okay, shot number 2, okay, the gunman actually has, as soon as JFK turned down on Elm Street, he had 7.58 seconds to take that shot. Okay, that shot came from the second floor of the county records building. The distance for that shot from that gunman was 294.18 feet or 98.6 yards. The shot struck JFK in the back of the head. the bullet entered 15 centimeters and it stopped. So see, this is why I say when I point out my research that how I find out all this information, it's not trying to come up with a story, nothing. This is what we can see in images and films, and when we start lining this up, we can pull a lot of information from it, and we get just like when we pinpoint a distance. Okay, when we look at a distance, okay, if we knew a gunman is in this location here, like the second floor of the county records building, which we know that because we can see the gunman there, and we can see the shot being fired from that location as well in Hughes film. Now we got that section there. Now we have that evidence, so we know a location to look at. Then when we put it back together and we look on a map and stuff, we place that JFK's limo in that location at the time of when Zapruder film was filming and other images was taken and other people filming. We put it right back in that location of where JFK's limo was, and we're going to find out actually a true distance, because now we know when JFK was shot in the back of the head, about frame 229 of the Zapruder film was in this location right here. So now we have that location. We know the location of the gunman. We have location of his shot, where he made his shot, and where the shot made contact with is right in this location here. So now we can take our line, measure from here to here. Now we have our distance. Then we look at the Zapruder film, start with the frame mark right here, frame 133 of the Zapruder film was in this location right here where we started. Now we have a starting point. Then we go from the time from here to when the limo reaches this location here with 7.58 seconds. So now we have a time frame. So now not only we have a time frame, we have a distance of what he took, the gunman was from when he took that shot. And then we have images of the gunman in the location that he's at, holding a rifle, and then firing from that location as you see here. And then we have other evidence compelled on top of that, which we can see the bullet hole in the back of JFK's head is in this location here. Then when we watch the Zapruder film and we zoom in, it's also in the same location where we see a bullet impact in this frame as well, because people don't know this. But from this point to this point here, JFK was already shot twice, once in the back and then once in the head, in the back of the head. But it was fired from two different locations. I wanted to make this video here, this is shot number 2, okay, to give more information out and to show people that there was actually a lot of evidence that could be found in these films and these images. Tomorrow I'll be working on shot number 3. But I want to bring this out here and show people not only does these films and images show us a location of the gunman, but also shows a shot being fired from there, but also shows you what shot was actually fired from that location. And that was the first shot to the back of JFK's head, as we see in the Zapruder film, and when we put the other evidence together. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and relatives. Like I said, I'm going to be putting more files together tonight for shot number 3, and then continue on with shot number 4 and shot number 5, and show more evidence in them, location where these shots came from. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.